Hi guys, welcome to the July issue of Musings from the Bathtub. We're going to be talking soap. We'll be talking the price of olive oil in Spain, Turkey, Peru, and a bunch of other countries. And then I'll get around to giving you an update of what's been going on in my world since we talked in the last newsletter. If you're new here, I'm Jackie from cornersoapshop.com and I make some really great shea butter soaps. One of the main ingredients in soap for me and most other soap makers is olive oil. And olive oil's a commodity that's traded globally. And if something affects olives and the olive harvest, it's going to affect the price of our soap. Olives are grown globally, so you can find them produced in almost every country, but the biggest olive producing country is Spain. And in Spain, they have been dealing, like most other countries, with an El Nino for the last 2-3 years. And that's caused either an excess of rain or drought. And both of them adversely affect the olive harvest. So Spain, this year, things are looking up. They're expecting a 30% increase in their harvest over last year. The problem is they're still lagging behind the 5-year average. So prices are going to probably stay high. In New Zealand and South Africa, they're also expecting increased harvest, just not at the 30% range that Spain hopes to see. Then over in Turkey, they've banned the export of olive oil for some reason, but they've just lifted that ban, so that should help. But over in Peru and Chile, they're experiencing El Nino also, and it turns out that the conditions were ripe for a certain kind of fruit fly that likes to snack on olives. So their harvest the last year and into 2024 was decimated. So all of those factors all together contribute to lower supply, which for you and me at the grocery store means we're paying higher prices for olive oil. How bad is the price of olive oil? Since I've been making soap, say 25 years, the price of olive oil has more than quadrupled. I used to buy a big 5-liter jug at Sam's and it was $12 for 5 liters. Now I buy a 3-liter jug and it's almost $30. That's over 4 times the price that it was in let's just say 2000, 2001. So that's quite a big increase. Postage stamps have doubled in price from 34 to 68 cents. Your gas at the pump, on average in the US, the price of gas has gone up by 2.5 or 3 times, nowhere close to the 4+ times that olive oil has had a price increase. What all that means is if you see higher prices at your local soap maker's place, please understand they have to make that up somewhere. And I just want to thank you guys. When my price increased over the winter time, not one person complained. I know it hurts and I know we're all feeling it. So I thank you for understanding. In other soap news, I'm going to be doing our 6-month bestseller list for 2024 in a few days. We taped this early so I can edit it. So I'll be doing that probably over the weekend or early next week. Once I get that list, I'll post that to Facebook and it will be on the website at cornersoapshop.com. And I'll do a little short video on those bestsellers too. And if you subscribe, you'll get a notification about that. In July, I'm also going to get to make soap 2 times, which is a big deal. I've been making it only about every 6 weeks since I was semi-retired. So I'm going to look at my list here. I'll be making Lily of the Valley, Sweet Earth, Patchouli, Black Raspberry Vanilla, Flapping in the Breeze, Citrus Splash, Eucalyptus, and the Unscented Coffee Soap. And I've got 2 others, Lavender Spearmint and Vanilla Champagne, that will either be on the next list, or I might combine some of those sellers like Eucalyptus and coffee that are not great sellers. So I might make smaller batches of those so I can make those other two. Anything that goes out of stock in the next couple of days, don't worry, I promise it will be back in stock shortly. So, what's happening in Northwest Alabama? Unfortunately, a couple sad things, both on Rod's side and my side of the family. We had funerals to attend in the month of June. Rod's oldest remaining cousin died over in Decatur, about an hour away from us, and we were very honored to go over there. Rod was a pallbearer, and it was, funerals are sad, but it's really nice catching up with the cousins, and those kids that were 10 years old are now almost 50 years old. So it's kind of mind-boggling that we're getting so old. And then in Illinois, my dad's cousin Roger, who was 93, passed away very suddenly but not unexpectedly. And that kind of pulled family from all over the country. My uncle came from Utah, a cousin from Idaho, more family from California and Arizona. So again, sad, but it was so good catching up with some of those people that I haven't seen in 4 decades. So it was bittersweet, I guess would be a good way to explain it. During all of that, Tilly Dog had to go into the kennel for 4 nights. So the price of the kennel has gone up, the price of her dog food keeps going up. She takes a pill for allergies, and those went up $30 over the last couple of months. So for all of that, my sister and I joke that my mom really should have left Tilly a trust fund to take care of her grooming, her vet bills, and everything else. But I did try to cut corners a little bit when it comes to Tilly. When we first moved here, I bought the dog grooming table, the noose thing, and all that. But it turns out I'm afraid of my little 10-pound dog, or I'm afraid of cutting her ear off. I'm not quite sure which. So back to the groomer. Every 4 weeks she goes. And then I've been seeing those commercials for the farmer's dog, that fresh dog food, and the dogs love it. Well, I decided that maybe I could do a copycat of her prescription food. And so I've played around with that for the last month, and she does really like it, just like those dogs in the commercial. And the price is so much cheaper than her prescription food. So I'm going to try that. I still need to run the recipe by my vet to see if I'm hitting all the right nutrients. But hopefully, because it is quite a money saver. But yeah, talk to me in a couple years if my cost-saving move results in another $1,000 bladder surgery. That probably was not a good decision. And then on the last day of May, Jackie and Rod were working on a project on the carport. Rod been complaining about the glare coming in from the sun when he sits out there in the mornings and all afternoon with Tilly Dog. And so we had priced some bamboo blinds like what we had in Orlando, and for the length that we needed, it was just going to be too expensive. So I remembered that I had shade cloth that we used to use for our camping trips. We still camp, but we just don't ever use the shade cloth. So a couple weeks ago, I hung one side of the shade cloth just to see how he liked it, and he liked it. So got his help to hang the second side, and we had actually completed the process. It was about 4:30 on a Friday night, and we sat down in our chairs on the carport and we're admiring our job, and I said, if it were just moved over about 8 inches, it would be perfect. So we slid the extension ladder back up, but unfortunately this time it was a rung too high and we were just too tired to fix it. So the slope of the ladder was much shallower than it should have been. And I was actually coming down. It happened so quick. The bottom slid out. Rod was tired, so he had sat down, so he wasn't at the bottom of the ladder. And I ended up on the concrete, kind of on my right side. Skinned up both elbows, bruising on my left wrist, a big bruise and hematoma on my right thigh. And after the fact, my right shoulder hurts. But the funniest thing was, we were sitting in the doctor's office waiting to get stitches on the inch-long plus cut under my chin. And I said to Rod, I said, when I put weight on my foot, it really hurts. Look at the bottom of my foot. Tell me what's going on. And as I took my sock off, I could see blood in the bottom of my shoe. And he said, yeah, there's blood and something's going on. So after getting stitched up, the doctor put me on the x-ray machine, and she said, did you know you had a heel spur? And I said, no. And she said, well, it's broken off now, and that's probably what poked through the bottom of your foot. And she told me to get a knee scooter, see if a neighbor had a knee scooter I could borrow, which thankfully a neighbor did, gave us a knee scooter. And the not so funny thing was, I came in to the doctor a week later, saw the other doctor who checked out and said it was okay to remove the stitches. And then he asked why I was on a knee scooter, and I told him what happened. He said, well, that's not something you should need. You should be weight bearing on that. And I was like, really? And so I went home that day, tried to shuffle along, and woke up the next morning in excruciating pain, made an appointment with a podiatrist, and come to find out I have a broken heel spur and a broken heel. So I will be on my knee scooter for probably 2 months and possibly a third month, but I'll know more in a month. I go back to the podiatrist and we'll see what happens there. So guys, if you subscribe to the Famish Farm channel, I hope you did. I know a few of you did. You'll know I'm still out in the garden trying to grow some vegetables and some new flowers and the planters out front. I did get the doctor's approval to kind of tippy-toe walk when I'm outside, as long as I'm very careful. And I learned while I was gone to Illinois, I maybe overdid that just a little bit, but I'm a goer and doer, so I'm going to keep on doing those things until they chain me to the bed. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great month of July. Enjoy your 4th of July celebration with your family, and we'll see you here on YouTube for the next Musings from the Bathtub. Bye guys. Good to see ya.